Sadly, yeah, it is Monday, but instead of thinking of Monday as the beginning of the work week, it's the beginning of another cycle of 7 days. Plus, I don't have to work this Saturday, so it's not a bad Monday. Hang on, let's turn on the intricate studio lighting here, Hannah. There we go. I remember back in the day when you wanted to be a girl with a light on, you had to leave the car door open. But all right, no, that's a very old joke if you've never heard it. Probably older than me, which is ancient. All right, lots of interesting stuff from Big Finish. Apparently, they're going to do what I keep seeing referred to as a lost Cyberman origin story with Peter Davidson and I don't know if they're going to call it Genesis of the Cybermen, but or whatever. But it's going to be interesting considering Kit Pedler has been no longer with us for quite a few years, and he's the one who came up pretty much with the basis for the Cybermen. Um, so that right there is interesting in and of itself. Now, for you folks who've never listened to it, and I highly recommend that you do, there was a Big Finish story out years ago called Spare Parts. And it goes back, and it does take place on Mondas. It's a Doctor and Nyssa story, Fifth Doctor. And it's a very good audio for a listen if you ever get your hands on it or you can find it. And this right here, I think in itself was a pretty good story about how things went on Mondas. See, one of the things I could never understand, I could never figure the hell out. People love Moffat and all that, and I don't want to beat on him too hard, but because he did have his share of good stories. But here's the thing: he generally just throws stuff down, doesn't give a damn if it doesn't make sense, but it does work itself out to an interesting conclusion, which usually ends with the big speech or the big cry. Don't get me wrong, like I said, majority of his stories are pretty good. I ain't going to complain there. But one of the things I could never figure out about World Enough and Time and all that was if the Mondasians had gotten on a life ship to get away from Mondas and survived, there would have been no reason for them to become Cybermen. The main reason they became Cybermen was their planet was, if I remember correctly, you may want to help, was drifting further and further away from the sun. Conditions were getting worse and worse on the planet as that happened. They eventually went underground. And because of that and all that, they eventually started, cybernetic enhancements. And then, of course, this will lead to eventually full-blown Cybermen. So if they're on a ship where the conditions aren't getting worse and worse, why would they have developed Cybermen? That there never made any sense to me at all. Not to mention, it had to have been some other race, because if the Mondasians had the technology to build a ship that big and that advanced, they could have easily gotten the majority of the population out of there themselves. Therefore, there would have been no Cybermen. You get my drift? You see where I'm going here? But still, it's a good story nonetheless. Very powerful one for Peter Capaldi. But it just kind of unravels when I sit down and think about it. That's what happens when I think too much. Sometimes I get a little headache. Well, not a lot of people here for a Monday, but I don't blame you. Mondays kind of suck. It's your first day back at work. Most of you enjoyed a full weekend. The only good thing was we didn't have to work 9 hours on Saturday. They only worked us 8, which was nice for a change. I even suggested it hardly. Why are we working 9 hours on a Saturday when we work an extra hour every damn day leading to Saturday? But that's just me. That's my brain. That's how it works. Every now and then the little hamsters get together and have a meeting. Sometimes they lube up the little wheel up there, and things will race a little faster. So we got that going on. Then uh, we got Planet Crinoid coming, which is a Big Finish spin-off series from Doctor Who. And the thing is, though, you got to watch out sometimes. You see these articles, you begin reading them, or you see a headline for it, like, new spin-off featuring the Doctor, Paul McGann will return, and blah, blah. And I'm like, then you find out in the article that it's Big Finish. Not that I have a problem with Big Finish, but it almost seems to me like we're practicing the ancient art of let's pull some readers in and then we'll break their hearts once they get here, as long as we get the hits. Ugh. But anyways, lots of weird things going on in the world. Hurricanes. Europe and Asia are tearing themselves apart. The presidential election is coming up. I hate election years. I really do. It just drives me insane. If such and such in the time he was in office secretly ate children, and if you vote for such and such, your respective private parts will rot. Or it's like, if you don't for such and such, illegal immigrants will kick your puppy. I'm like, oh man. So crazy stuff going on out there with election year coming. Now, someone mentioned in the last video about, Dr. Freedom finally went to portrait instead of landscape. Okay, if you're out there watching this, I didn't have a choice. YouTube removed that choice. When you go to advanced settings now, it's just to set your monetization or not. There's no option to go to landscape. And if you try to turn your phone sideways, your phone makes nasty things at you going, dumbass, turn the phone back that way. It ain't working. And yeah, sadly, yeah, the weather's not doing anything the weather hasn't done since there's been weather on this planet. Matter of fact, I didn't see people driving Hummers and all that around in the, back in the dark ages when the medieval warmth hit. It's just, the climate's going to do what the climate's going to do. I hate to quote George Carlin, but he is then again, I like to quote George Carlin because he's one of my favorite philosophers. When this, basically to paraphrase it, when this planet's done with us, it's going to shake us off like a bad case of fleas. A surface nuisance. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Which makes me die laughing because a lot of these a-holes who are up there telling you need to get rid of your gasoline car, are going to be driving gasoline cars while you're charging up your battery. Or they're going to be flying around in private jets. Which put out God knows what. And okay, what's going to happen October 9th? Is that when the meteor hits? No. A lot of people are making crazy nonsense also about this asteroid that's kind of going to be our mini moon here for a very short time. It's not the first time that's happened. It won't be the last time that's happened either. Plus another thing, I love the fact that oh God, I just pictured a live action Jetsons movie coming. Oh, that's going to be terrible. Sorry, it's not been announced. I'm just saying I can picture it coming. Come on, look at everything else that they're making remakes out of. Now, we watched the remake to Salem's Lot last night. And I'm going to tell you right now, it was far better than I thought it was going to be because it did jump around a bit at the beginning, but it does pay off big at the end. That's all I'm going to say for now. I do recommend watching it. I'm not smoking, I'm vaping. Big difference. And if you don't know the difference, Google it. I quit smoking in 2016. I've not lit a cigarette since then. I've not had bronchitis since then. I've not had the yearly sinus infection since then. I no longer have a hack in the morning. I sleep 10 times better. I can taste my food. Oh, yeah. That's one I've brought up before, Apophis. Everybody, you mention Apophis, everyone thinks about Stargate, the series, and it's like, no. This Apophis is one you do want to worry about. Because there ain't going to be no, Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis and all that to hop into a titanium shuttle that don't exist and, go up and dig a hole in it and blow it up. They have nothing that we know of. And trust me, those keywords, keep those in mind, that we know of. I love this. Someone once again just used the pedestrian walkway to cut through. One of these days, I'm just scared that one of these imbeciles is going to do that and hit somebody. There's a big difference between smoking and vaping. When you breathe out for one, I don't know why Bill Burr did this stupid-ass comedy routine for this movie. But vaping does not put out carcinogens. Vaping does not put out smoke. It's water vapor. And if you have a problem with water vapor, I don't know how you're breathing on this planet. Okay, we'll put it at that. But for Doctor Who, yeah, that's about all we have is Big Finish news primarily. And before I go, I'm going to spend a couple extra minutes because this is something I forgot to cover because my aged brain, is dismissing it as high hopes. There was also an article in the Radio Times about an interview with Carol Ann Ford. And about how, she said she's been saying for years that she's up for a return. But at the same time, she said she's a bit worried about it because she'd probably lose it because of all the memories that would come flooding back of all the people that are no longer with us. She is the only remaining survivor of the original TARDIS crew. Everyone else is, passed away. We lost, Ian Chesterton, who, of course, was played by William Russell. But we did get him back on the show, thanks to Chibnall. Say that again, that evil name. Chibnall! Okay. I'm really hoping the bi-generation thing does not become a standard. I know, but sadly, it's the truth. If there's one thing I did disagree with in the new series, the bi-generation thing was stupid. And it's mainly because I think RTD didn't want to kill off David Tennant's doctor again. And you shouldn't have brought him back then. But at the same time, it did work. Plus, we did get one good reunion scene with, of course, Wilfred, Bernard Cribbins, who, before he became too ill and, sadly passed away. So, also, Jodie Whittaker was, if you look on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, you're going to see a huge number of pictures she stopped on the way out and took with fans. Matter of fact, when she saw fans out there, she saw them, some cosplayed and all that. She goes, I knew you guys were going to be out here, she said with a chuckle. So she still appreciates the show. She's still going out of her way for the fans, even though that, she's no longer the doctor on screen. So, well, folks, I've got to get inside. So please be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. And sure, it's Monday, but it's still another day. We'll get through it. Take care, everyone. Have a good morning.